Welcome to our special broadcast from the National Association of Broadcasters show and the Studio Experience. I'm your host, Steve Waskell, and I'm so happy to have Jason Ziller back with us. Jason is the Thunderbolt Marketing Director for Intel. Jason, how are you?
Good to see you again, Steve.
It's good to have you here.
Thank
have you been
you.
good?
Yeah, everything's doing very well.
Good, good. And a new guest who we have just met at the show, Tim Butcher, who is the Senior Vice President of Seagate and LaCie branded solutions. Tim, how are you doing?
Great.
Welcome to our show.
Great to be here.
So LaCie products, we've been using them for years at Waskell TV. And most of the folks in our audience here are going to be familiar with LaCie. But if you could give us a little bit of background about the company, I think that'd be a really good place to start.
Yeah, LaCie has been around for quite some time. LaCie was acquired by Seagate in 2012 thereabouts. So now within Seagate, LaCie is really the premium brand for creative professionals, such as everyone in the audience here and out on the show floor. LaCie really stands for bold design, not just on the outside, but also on the inside. And a lot of folks here, I'm sure, are familiar with the Rugged series of products. This is probably our most iconic product line, which has been around for going on its 11th year. So really, LaCie is about creative professionals, period.
So were you with LaCie before Seagate acquired, or were you with Seagate, or did you come on board after that?
I was with Seagate.
You're with Seagate.
And now we have two consumer brands, really three or two and a half, but Seagate branded products, LaCie branded products, which is about creative professionals, and then we also have a Mac Store line. That's kind of our value line.
So it would seem that, I mean, with Seagate and LaCie combined, you have a pretty good marriage there to be able to, leverage, right?
Exactly. LaCie brings design expertise. It brings software expertise. Seagate brings storage expertise in terms of the storage element. But in today's day and age, it's not about storage as much as it is about the data and really helping to unleash the data, especially for creative professionals. Because when you think about it, creative professionals have a lot of data. And it's not about just storing that data, but it's accessing it quickly in order to edit those 6K, 8K, multi-4K videos. And so with LaCie, we're really trying to create products that unleash the data. It's kind of like unleash the hounds, right?
Right.
That's really most important to folks who are here at NAB. And that's really what we're focused on with a new product we're about to introduce.
Well, as content creators ourselves for years, we like the idea of having always more bandwidth, more storage capacity.
Right.
And speaking of unleashing the data, Jason, I'm so excited about Thunderbolt 3.
Yes.
So you and I have talked about it, several times. It's coming, it's here. But for our audience, if you could kind of give us a sort of the high level and some specifics for the industry, what does Thunderbolt 3 now mean to creative professionals?
Sure. Well, Steve, glad to be here talking about it with LaCie as well. A couple of years ago when we introduced Thunderbolt 2 at 20 gigabits per second, the content creation industry said, thank you very much, we love it, but get us more speed as soon as you can. We need more. So we started working on the next generation, and we have now Thunderbolt 3, which is double the performance, runs up to 40 gigabits per second. So, plus much more, which I'll talk about in a minute, but I want to focus on the performance first, data and video performance. So at 40 gigabits per second, you can do, for example, with storage, fast storage, you can create the world's fastest external storage at about up to 2,700 megabytes per second. So that's double Thunderbolt 2.
Up to 2.7
gigabytes
per second, not bits.
Yeah, so
but
for those
bytes,
of you
folks,
who know
yes.
about storage performance, that's like off the charts.
That's amazing, actually, yeah.
Yeah. So, and you can transfer a 4K movie in less than 30 seconds at that kind of speed. So it's quite exciting.
That is amazing, right?
Yeah. The other side of it is the video performance, where you can now you can support and connect to up to 2 4K displays, or one 5K display with a single cable. So you have double the video performance of the previous generation and double the video performance of any other video connection as a single port on a computer.
Yeah, but the cable that you've got there too, it's pretty special, right?
Yeah, so that's the last part, is the connection. So what we've done is we needed to move to a new connector for Thunderbolt 3, if I can turn around. And so we joined forces with USB, with the USB Type-C connector, the USB-C connector. And so Thunderbolt 3 runs on the USB-C connector. And it's really the USB-C that does it all. It is a superset of USB, so it actually supports the fastest USB 3.1, 10 gigabits per second. It supports DisplayPort 1.2, as it did before, and it supports the 40 gigabit per second Thunderbolt. So you can literally connect to anything, any device, billions of USB devices, all the Thunderbolt devices, both new ones and the older ones through an adapter that's coming out. You can connect to any display, potentially through an adapter to HDMI or DVI or DisplayPort or what have you. So you can literally connect to everything. But the marriage on the connector is really a game changer. We think that overall for the industry, not just the content creation industry, but for the world at large, this USB-C connector is really going to take over the world and really be a game changer.
Well, also you can use that to, for example, if I have a small form factor, we were talking before, Ultrabook, say, I can use this kind of connector and Thunderbolt to deliver new kinds of products, right?
Yeah.
Or experiences.
Yeah, this connector will scale, from the biggest workstations all the way down to the smallest form factor Ultrabooks or 2-in-1s or mobile workstations and on down. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's really good. So that way, no matter what device it is, I can take my storage and bring it with such a small, connector, or maybe even using a dock to get to it.
Right, on the device
up.
side, you can make very small portable drives all the way up to bigger solutions.
Bigger things, which brings us back to Tim. So Tim, you have something very mysterious here covered up that we're going to talk about.
Yes. So at LaCie, we've been working with Intel from the very beginning of Thunderbolt days. And Jason, I love this connector. Not only is it smaller and create smaller form factors, but it's idiot-proof, so you can reverse it, which is good. But really what Thunderbolt 3 does is, as I was talking about earlier, is really unleashing the data. And when you have data at rest, it's really just storage. But when you have that data in flight, it becomes experience. And so with Thunderbolt 3, we can now create new kinds of experiences for content creators that they've never been able to do before, again, through this partnership with Intel. So today we're announcing something big.
Something big.
Something big. And it's not just big on the outside, but it's big on the inside. So are we ready?
Let's see it. I've been curious to see it all morning long here.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce the LaCie 12big.
Ooh,
it's
nice.
Our first. Yay. It's our first Thunderbolt 3 product. It has the capabilities to achieve full saturation on Thunderbolt 3.
So it can get up to the 2.7 or 2.6
exactly.
gigabytes a
per second. And has a lot of other really cool features that we'll talk about in just a bit.
Okay, great. So we're going to be back in a little bit to talk with some technical issues about it. And in the meantime, for our audience, we would like to play a short video for you. It kind of gives you an overview of the product. Okay, we're back now. We've added gas bar, plant throw. Is that how you say it?
That's correct, yeah.
So you are the product manager for this unit, right?
Yes, that's correct.
It's amazing. So we want to hear a lot of the details about it.
A lot of detail, yeah. So as Tim just said, I think he didn't speak about the capacity of the product.
Yeah.
So with 12 drives, we're now capable of offering to creative professionals up to 96 terabytes.
Up to 96 terabytes, so 8 terabyte drives.
8 terabyte drives, those are Seagate Enterprise class, so pretty high-end in terms of reliability. So with these products, you're able to store, I think, up to 100 hours of 4K content.
100 hours of 4K content.
Yeah, I think you understand what it represents from a showcase perspective.
Yeah, so on the drives itself, you sell it populated as you do with some of the other solutions, right?
Yes.
Yes, so, okay. So it comes with the hard drives, that's how you get
All
yeah,
of the
yeah.
drives,
Yeah.
all of the drives, it's fully populated.
So it's fully tuned with Seagate and LaCie
Enterprise.
working together, which
Yeah,
makes a big
exactly.
difference, right, than just
Yeah,
other solutions.
That's a joint venture. I mean, we've been working hard with both Intel, internally with all the engineering team in different locations in France, in the US, to make this product possible and to achieve up to, as Tim said, 2600 megabytes per second.
So on this one, there's a lot of interesting features in the back plane, how you've designed the back plane, and then the software that runs it. It all comes together, right?
There are a lot of stuff inside. So this product, as all of our professional products, is basically designed. So the designer for the product is Neil Poulton. So we got a full aluminum enclosure, which makes, we think, a difference when you're on stage. We're not doing a plastic product, we're doing a full aluminum. So the back, I think, can you see it? All the way down. So the back, you can see the two Thunderbolt 3 ports, and very important for our customers is the USB-C port. That means we have a lot of versatility in terms of connectivity. You can connect it to any USB laptop on the market. So of course you won't go as fast as Thunderbolt 3, but still you will be able to access data. When you want to go faster, you get a Thunderbolt 3 laptop and you will get astonishing speeds.
So you have two Thunderbolt 3 ports and a USB
On the
3
back.
port on the back. And then it looks like from here, there's 4 fans in the back, so it's probably going to be fairly quiet when it's operating, right?
Yeah, we're working with a well-known fan company that we've been using their fan for a long time with all our products, the 2big, the 5big. We're very happy with this company, and putting 4 fans really helps us to run them pretty slow. So that means this is more or less noiseless.
Which is great. I was noticing that and thinking that's a nice feature.
Yeah.
What about for networking or having multiple devices accessing the storage simultaneously? Is there anything special a customer has to do for that?
So Thunderbolt allows for networking. This product is a DAS. It's a direct attached storage. That means you connect it directly to your computer and it will show up and you will be able to run at 40 gigabit per second. If you networking are more complex product that we are working on at the moment, but as of today, the product we're unveiling is all about speed and ease of use.
Okay, so this one mainly is but I can still daisy chain it. So I could, like Jason was mentioning, a Thunderbolt display. I could have a 4K Thunderbolt display daisy chain to the storage, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can, as Jason said, you can daisy chain up to 6 devices. So 600 terabytes of data if you daisy chain 6 12big, for example.
So their whole budget's going to go to LaCie then. I love it. That's a lot of storage capacity.
Yes.
So when they're setting it up initially, you guys have an interface that allows the user to choose if I want RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 5, RAID 6. What are my options when I'm doing that?
So basically, out of the factory, we pre-configure the RAID so that we test every single cluster of the drive so that when it's shipped to our customers, we know that all of the sectors are good. So we pre-configure it in RAID 5, which takes in factory something like a couple of days, so that out of the box, it's ready to use for security in RAID 5. So RAID 5, you've got a little less speed, or something up to 2400 megabytes per second, which is quite fair. But then you're fail-proof. That means if a disk fails, your data will still be safe, given those are front and hot swappable. You can just remove the drive and put another one, and you're ready to go with security. And all of the configuration, we spent a lot of efforts learning from the feedback we've had from our customers and partners about the software part of it. So we made it very simple from a configuration perspective, explaining to the end user what are the benefits of going from RAID 5 to RAID 6, changing the different stripe size whenever he wants to access big files or small files.
Oh, we'll do that on the fly? No.
No, at the initial configuration.
The initial configuration.
Yeah, exactly.
So there was a lot of trickiness. In the old days, you would start with 4 drives, 5 drives, 6 drives. By the time you got to 8, the performance would start falling off because I'd spend too much time sort of negotiating to say who's going to get this bit of information to write. So it sounds like you're doing 12 drives. If you're doing RAID 5, you're striping 1 for parity.
Exactly.
So you have 11 working.
Yeah, for speed.
So is that kind of showing some of the Seagate and LaCie collaborative efforts to be able to figure out how to keep that performance growing as you've added more drives?
Yeah, we've spent a lot in terms of development with the chipset provider as well as with the hard drive in the US to make this possible in terms of speed and sustaining the speed all over the file transfers.
Okay, so we're here at NAB Show. I can imagine there's a lot of folks that would be interested in this. So for this audience, what are some of the features, or who are you really targeting here at this show that you'd like to
I think
see?
We're more or less targeting everyone that comes to the show, owns a shooting company like yours that needs a fair amount of data. This product can be used on the shooting stage to offload SD cards. I can see you're using one of our products over there.
We have a couple of your big 5s in our workflow right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you
Thunderbolt.
Yeah, Thunderbolt 2.
Yes.
Then when you're doing backups of those rush shots, you will do easily from a 12-big to another for security. So definitely on the whole workflow range, the 12-big can be a successful product.
So whether we're doing broadcasts like we are with multiple cameras, or we're going back and doing editing where we might have 6 4K cameras that we're editing simultaneously, or in this case HD cameras, it's very much easier to do, or 6K, 8K, this would be a great solution with a Thunderbolt, in particular Thunderbolt 3 for that.
Exactly.
Great. So Jason, on this end of it, we were talking about storage, but the ecosystem for Thunderbolt 3. As you've been kind of working with different companies and having them look at Thunderbolt 3, how is that system developing?
Very well. We originally announced the technology last June.
That's
and,
right, in June.
Less than a year later, about 9 months later, we're seeing a lot of new computers in the market with Thunderbolt 3. There's many here in your booth and around NAB. So a lot of new mobile workstations, but there's also a lot of other different form factors, all the way down to 2-in-1s and ultrabooks and mini PCs and motherboards for the DIY market. So really across the board, a lot of different products on the computer side with Thunderbolt 3. And so we're seeing really broad adoption of Thunderbolt 3 in the computer industry.
So across the entire spectrum.
Yeah, and we're going to continue to see that ramp as we go through this year and into next year for sure. And then on the device side, as we see with LaCie's announcement, there's new products starting to be announced and will ramp in the second half of this year in the peripheral device side as well. So,
that's great.
yeah.
So Gaspard, on this you had mentioned enterprise class. When you're talking about that, were you specifically targeting the drives that you put in, or the entire solution that LaCie has come up with is starting to bridge that gap between the consumer professional side and real true enterprise class
So we're talking,
features?
Yeah, we're talking about the hard drive we put inside, but the full enclosure has been designed to meet the professional needs. So this product comes with a 5 years warranty.
A 5-year warranty?
Yeah, not only the drive, but the full enclosure.
That's a long warranty. How does that compare to the industry? That's higher than most, right?
Mostly, yeah. Won't talk for the others, but yes, the usual standards are 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3. That's fantastic. So any thoughts you want to leave the folks with about the product then? It's going to be available soon?
Yeah, we will start shipping this product in summer this year. So we would be more than happy to. So we're demonstrating the product on your booth, on the studio experience as well on the LaCie booth. So if you want LaCie, huge capacity, up to 96 terabytes, amazing speed, 26 to 2700 megabytes per second. Just stop by and we'll be happy to demonstrate it.
Fantastic. So for our audience here, I highly suggest you take a look, spend some time talking with the Thunderbolt team, LaCie, check out the demo here in Studio Experience. And for our online audience, we're going to take a break and transition over. We'll be having our next guest at the bottom of the hour. Thanks for watching. We'll be right back in a moment.